right now, Israel is, as I've written, by now, I have to conclude, is engaged in genocidal actions in Gaza. That doesn't have to be like the Holocaust. There were many other cases. The Holocaust was the greatest genocide in history, and it's very different from what we are seeing now, but that does not take Israel off the hook for its own actions. Over time, you could see that actions by the F were on such a scale of targeted destruction, intentional destruction of universities, of hospitals, of schools, of mosques, of infrastructure, of housing areas. And the population was being moved from one place to another with the argument that, it's for their own safety. And meanwhile was being increasingly debilitated by this and never safe in its safe zones, but constantly struck also in the so-called safe zones. So it became, to my mind, clearer and clearer that something was happening which was not only indifference to human life, which was obvious from the very beginning. And the invasion of Rafah made a difference to me in early May, because this was the last place in which the IDF told a large number, over 1 million Palestinians, to find shelter. And the Americans were warning Israel from doing it. Now, that to me meant that there was simply absolutely not only no concern for human life or for any humanitarian considerations, but rather that this was an attempt to make life in Gaza impossible for the population and to debilitate the population to such an extent that it would either just die out, whether from military action or from the many diseases that are there, from deterioration of health on a massive scale, or try to flee as best it can. What you have in the West Bank now is a situation of creeping ethnic cleansing, which is being carried out by settlers. It's not all the settlers, but it's the radical elements within the settlers, and there are many of them who are outlaws. They were supposed to be held back by the army. The army is supposed to control that, but the army, in fact, is complicit in it. This is now government policy. Of course, the government will not say it's its policy, but the policy is to, again, in the West Bank, to create conditions for Palestinians increasingly impossible. Managing the occupation has totally corrupted the Israeli political system, Israeli morals and ethics, and of course it has done enormous damage to the Palestinians. Without changing that, what you see now are more and more of the rotten fruits of that kind of refusal to confront the fact that Israel is occupying a vast population as large as the Jewish population of the country itself.